Welcome everybody to Passionate and Purposeful Women edition of mine, where today I have Praggatti Rao with me, a great friend with whom I met online and have been chatting for a while. This is the first time that we are talking live, and that too at a professional level, where we are going to talk about her passion, what brought her to this profession. Before I bring her live, I will just introduce myself quickly, and then Pragati, you have the forum. We are going to talk just about you. My name is Vandana Sehgal. I am the host of Passionate and Purposeful Women. This is one of my passion that I love doing. I like to talk about people or women like Pragati who are living a purposeful life. I am also an author. I have already written a book, I Love Myself, and working on my second book, which is in progress. The third thing I love doing is that I help women in finding balance, health, and joy through their mental and emotional wellness. So that's few things that I do in my life. And Pragati is a director, principal consultant at EduConcept India Initiative since 2007. I believe this is your baby that you started with.
Absolutely. I'm
So,
founders, yes.
yeah. So tell us more about you.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for having me here. It's such a delight to meet you, though online. And yes, people do say, you don't get real friends online. I'm very happy to be part of a community which you have, where you have people, you actually motivate them to write and you do all so many good stuff. So I had to be here. So thank you so much for having me here. Then,
Thank you.
okay, coming back to what I do, what I have been all this while, well, I'm a certified psychologist. I'm also an NLP master coach, and I've used both these sciences to turn around and bring about excellence and meaning in young adults' life and in the life of women per se. So when I say that, well, you just mentioned that I've been there since 2007. So my company was all about bringing in that whole need of learning, leading, and growing at the same time. And how do we do that? We've got very clear tools, strategies, and structures from positive psychology, from neuro-linguistic programming and psychometrics to bring about this change. And this is something which is very close to my heart. I've been doing it all this while. This is the only thing I know how to do well. So that's the whole agenda behind it. I also believe that my work is more out of destiny than design. I have been in corporate way back. I have worked on a very different platform. If I tell you that I've been an MBA gold medalist, I have worked for networking divisions of AppTech and NIT, you'll be looking up at me and saying what? And suddenly,
Actually, I was thinking when I was reading your profile, I had this question, what happened? How did you shift your path, And this is something I wanted to know that how did you find this niche of yours or the desire that, or the destiny that, you want to work with children and women? What brought you here?
so I'll be very honest here. It's my destiny which had found me rather than me going the other way. So I always, as I've been saying, it was something which was destined for me. Like way back, I did suffer a medical problem, which was big enough, which took a lot of good young years of my life. And that was a time I was struggling to find out how to come out of it and come out of it as a winner. So I've been an achiever all my life. So it was wired into my body to be an achiever again. And this time when this thing happened, I was like in the bed for 5 years. I was on medicines, a lot of things happening. So it was like, I didn't like the whole idea of being defeated by something like that. And that was also the time I was going through a lot of positive psychology content, a lot of content on how to turn this around. And I guess from there on, I was able to do it beautifully well. And that's when I realized how important these things are to anybody. Why wait for something to happen? Why not proactively look for these things and turn around your life? I see a lot of people cribbing and crying about what's happening, what's not happening. I guess my agenda when I started this whole thing was to proactively persuade people to look at these things. I wanted to, to turn around and tell women, listen, there are multiple ways of reacting to this situation. Be it about in-laws, be it about your own self, a lot of things which are constantly happening, whether it's culturally, and if you look all over the world, there are certain things about relationships, certain things about yourself that you need to be sorting. If you don't do them, you're never happy. So I guess that's how, when I realized, I actually left everything else and I was neck deep into this thing. The second reason was my daughter itself. So when I got married in this lazy little town of Gurgaon way back in 1996, it was such a dusty place. I mean, today if you look at Gurgaon, it is one of the most happening places. That
Yeah.
time I couldn't find good enough things and avenues for my daughter. And my daughter is my guinea pig for most of the stuff. Today she's a 22-year-old young adult.
Really? Yeah.
So but then she's the one who gave me a very critical feedback about, mama, this is not good, you don't do this, I don't like it, I get bored when you do this. So I kind of took a lot of feedback from her, and finally I came up with two flagship programs. One was for young adults, which is by the name of I Am I Can, and the second one for women is called Exceed Yourself. So now these two are my two more babies, so in all I have four of them.
What an amazing journey you had, and how you transformed your pain into power. And you rightly said that most of the time we make circumstances to be much bigger than us. And we forget that we need to take the responsibility of whatever is happening. We can always transform the situations if we change our thinking and take the responsibility of our actions, our thoughts, and feelings, and everything then seems like it is within us and not outside.
Well, to be very true, for years, couple of years, I was actually down in the dumps. I was really feeling so bad. Why me and all that stuff. So I
Yeah,
had my share of wallowing and self pity and lot of stuff. But then, there comes a point where when the pain becomes enough, a person does something about it. So I was like, nothing doing. Now I have to do something about it. This is crippling. This is affecting me mentally, emotionally, and a lot of other stuff. And imagine somebody who's been a topper all her life, this becomes like, okay, so I need to turn this around. So then suddenly that topper in me, that achiever in me wants to overcome that one thing. And I guess
yeah,
from there on it's like, um, it just happened by destiny.
yeah, yeah, great. Is it taxing sometimes to be an achiever? Because people, who are really passionate, they are achievers, right? So sometimes it gets too much onto, like, why every time? How do you manage these huge flow or heavy flow of emotions?
Now, you know what, when you do all this, you also become conscious about sensitivity or about your own emotions. I was a
Mm.
very sensitive girl. So now look at that. Whatever I am today, I was none of that way back. So I was a very sensitive, emotional girl, and I always realized that even one single episode or one rude comment was enough to kind of derail me off, and which was, of course, which was not very likable, but it was happening. That's the reality. And then when I started on my journey of personal victories, of self growth, because I started with myself. I don't believe in giving sermons to the whole world when you don't do it. So when I
Yeah.
started with myself, I realized that was one thing which I needed to conquer. And I did. I proactively worked on my emotions. I proactively did things which were kind of making me fearful. I was phobic to certain things. So I just, I neck deep into, I got myself into all of them. And I think that exposure kind of created some kind of resilience. That exposure therapy worked for me. And today I am much more stronger as a woman, which I was ever was. So, yes, that's what gives me courage. I had actually worked on my emotions also. And
Yeah.
that's also a reason I tell young adults and women that you don't have to be a bundle of big emotions. Big emotions they are always telling us something or the other. We need to listen to them carefully.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was about to ask, like, when you mentioned about women, that you meet so many women, you inspire them, you give them NLP training. What do you see these women need to know or conquer so that they can be a winner in their own life? We all need an inspiration, we need an inspiring figure, but then we all have that courage inside us which gets overpowered by fear. So, what is it that these women need to do or need to hear that they find the courage?
I'll tell you what, it's not that they don't have it, it's just that in the due course of the daily life that they are busy with the relationships they are handling, with the ever increasing pressure of parenting and a lot of stuff like that, it kind of does their shine, and they forget that they have it in them. The moment they are there with me training, they give that 100% to that training, that 2 hours a week. They are able to kind of find their flow. They're able to kind of find, okay, so this is what motivates me. They understand what kind of things or triggers can they actually use to bring about changes in their moods and other stuff. And of course, I have got this little feedback. In all my humility, I must say, people love the whole idea of being around me. So, and I love the whole idea that they are able to perceive those positive vibes, that joy that I intend to bring into their lives. So overall, if I look at it, they have it. They just need a little validation from somebody. So I would not go about validating by giving them compliments. I just ask them certain questions, which brings up lots of things on the surface. And the moment they see it on the surface, they are happy with themselves. So some of them have belief, and then they have beliefs. If you look at women, they are love limiting beliefs. And those beliefs are coming from the family, from the work culture that they are part of, and a lot of stuff. So I tell them how we're turning them around. And then I give them certain set of empowering beliefs as well. So the end result overall is awesome. I just love the whole idea when they look at things in a different way, when they have more than one way of looking at a situation or a relationship, and they turn it around. There've been many who were fearful of small things like social interactions, and when they kind of become a coach, when they kind of become a mentor for somebody, it's like a wow moment for me. So this is what I have been seeing. I've been seeing a lot of women also, afraid of speaking their mind. So I actually ask them, I make them question themselves, what will happen if you speak? What will happen? What's the worst case scenario that you can think of? And they actually could visualize that, and they realize, oh, nothing great would happen. I better talk about it. So these are some of the things which have actually been very wonderful when I in the whole process of NLP training. Then there've been many who've been wanting to gel well with the colleagues, to plan better, to take actions on certain things that they've decided. And I guess that's the nudge that they're looking for. So it's not that they don't have it; it's just a little nudge that they're looking for. It's just a little piece of, you know, they have the whole puzzle solved. Just a little piece is missing. That piece probably they get from the training itself. So when they are part of these modules, they get that little piece, they get that strategy in place, and they are able to create that kind of structure what they're looking at.
Yeah, I can see how passionate you are about the work and transforming the life of these women, and they are so blessed to have you in their life. The
It's
next
the other
question
way
might,
around, Sadhana. I am blessed to have them in my life. They have actually made the whole process of growth a little more accelerated for me. Because of their presence, I'm growing faster. And I'm totally, totally grateful to each one of them there.
yeah, yeah, I can totally understand that, because when I get into my coachings, I know how much I grow while I am, showing them light, and when I'm helping them, the smile on their face, brings that smile in my heart. So I can totally relate to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You said it right.
Yeah. The next question might not be easy for you. Yeah,
Let me
you're getting ready
I'm
about it. Whom do you love training more, the young adults or the women?
Yes, it's a difficult one. It's indeed a difficult one. You're asking me who's your, I mean, out of the two children I have, who's your favorite?
Yeah,
It's that
yeah.
kind of question. Okay, let me answer this. So, well, it's a tough one. Yes, it's a tough one. Okay.
See, young adults are the future, and mothers or women are the one who are raising those young adults. So,
Now the problem is I'm a woman too. So, okay, so I will say woman, why I'll tell you. Okay, so, if, a lot of people come to me. I also do a lot of psychological counselings. And as part of that, a lot of people come to me for a lot of stuff that they face around their teenagers, upbringing, parenting, and a lot of stuff like that. And I have realized I did not have even single bit of that, issue or a challenge when my daughter was a teen. At times, I doubted myself. I asked myself, am I going right? Why am I not having any issues at all? What's the problem? So, now look at that. That's the human mind. Even if you don't have a problem, you'll search for what is wrong.
Yeah.
So I actually did that, and today I realize whatever growth I have been able to achieve is because I had sorted children. I had a sorted home. So when you give this to a woman, now imagine a woman who's constantly feeling pressurized due to relationships, something like in-laws, something like a over busy husband, or things like the colleagues in the office who are not going the way she wants them to be. So all these are very destabilizing for a woman. All these affect her big time, and in case that woman is even slightly sensitive or an emotional woman, it takes a toll. So
Hmm.
I guess this makes sure that the woman is able to be sorted in herself. She's having a sorted family, she's having sorted children, so she is actually required to take care of less stuff,
Hmm.
and she can take care of what she wants in life. So yes, the second one is good enough. Though I get a very good response for the first one. If I talk of business viability, the first one is the one that I do the most. Because women still think, oh, we've grown up, we don't need things like this, and I still see those kind of blogs happening where people think just going to an office or having a decade-long experience is enough. I don't believe that. They have to be consciously inculcating these things in themselves. They've got to be proactively seeking inputs like that. So, yes, for the time being, let's stick to this.
So you saved yourself. Yeah.
I did. I did. Yay.
Moving forward, what is your purpose in life, what would you like to keep doing?
Well, I certainly want to be in the same area of work. I I thought that I'll be retiring by the age of 45, and I don't see it happening. I've crossed that age way back, and it's not happening any sooner. So, coming some more years, I'm going to be part of the industry. The only thing I'll do is I'll look for better ways to do it. I'll look for how I can do some more deeper work, how I can actually create, something which is a legacy. That's on my mind. So if I go, I really want people to say that this lady transformed my life. And that's what I am craving for at the moment.
Aha. That's a huge purpose, and I wish you luck for that. You have already transformed the life of many people, and you are, progressing ahead. Talk about your book, which you have written. I really would like to know more. I would like our audience to know more about that book, and I'm sure it would help them a lot in transforming their life, their children's life. So, talk about your book.
Okay, so first let me show you how this looks. That's the book. The title is
Yeah,
The
I'll,
Ultimate Parenting Handbook, right?
yeah.
And when I wrote this book, honestly, I did not write the book because I wanted to be an author. I did not write the book because I wanted to be. I mean, if you look at the ads these days, a lot of people are touting that if you write a book, you're an expert in your domain. I have none of this in my mind when I was writing a book. However, there are a lot of people in my life, and there's this one lady who's a social media coach by the name of Sunita Bindu. Uh, she calls me up on one fine day and she says, Pragati, you should be writing a book. She'd seen my blogs. I have been a part of her blogging and other such seminars. And she said, Pragati, you should write a book now. I said, oh, I'm not ready. You know how it comes. I said, no, no,
Yeah.
I'm not ready. And book, no way. I'm happy doing my blogs. She said, no, you're ready. And the conviction with which she said was amazing. I could feel it, not just hear it, I could feel it. And it took me 2 days time. I said, okay, let me do something about it. And I was like, I shied away. 2 days I was not thinking about it. But then I said, if somebody has that kind of conviction in you and they think you can write, just make a framework. So I sat down, I made a framework of. Now, this is, if you look at it, there's a tagline to it: real truths from one sane parent to another. Which means when I wanted to write the book or whatever she said, that go ahead with it, I thought, no, not from an expert point of view, not from the point of view of that, oh, I know so much. No, nothing like that. I want to be projecting myself as a sane parent. And sanity has been one of my constant companion because of the things that I do. So I kind of jotted down some 14 things that a parent should know to be a saner parent.
Yeah.
It's not that they don't know, it was a set of reminders. Most of us know so much, but there's a difference between intellectually knowing something and applying something. So if you look at the things today, there's so much of information, there's so much of knowledge, but it's not being translated into results and outcomes that can help us in real life. So this book was more of a lighter read, a simple reminder from one same parent to another. And I also ended up giving some tracking processes at the end. So what is, how you can impact your children. So apart from those 14 reminders, I did create an impact sheet, which was about a parent can pick and choose any couple of the things which they like from those 14 chapters. They can use it. Okay, next 20, 21 days, I'm going to be focusing on this as an impact. And then there's a tracker, whole lot of tracker about it. And then we also have their beliefs around gratitude, around loving, caring, exercising, freedom, cohesion in the family. So it's like a complete self kind of workbook kind of stuff. So they could read it, they could do simple exercises around it, and most importantly, towards the end, there's a tracker and there's a 10-step process of how to build up your impact. So it was as simple, as I could get it.
Actually, it doesn't sound simple. It sounds so much of valuable stuff that you have put in, and 14 things that you can receive from a parent, and then you can track which one you want to work. It might sound simple, but it isn't. I'm sure a lot of effort would have gone into it, a lot of thought process would have gone. How much time did you take to write this?
If I tell you that, I don't want you to underestimate the book, okay? So, okay. So, when I sat down, I'll tell you first how that time was brought down. So, I did take 2.5 months to finish that off. And in that 2.5 months, I borrowed hugely from a journal that I maintain. As I meet clients and whatever learnings or insights I have, I record them. I love to record them. And I also specially record those things which where I feel the parent is being difficult, the child has no issue at all, and I can't say that, so I have to be very what do you say, politically correct in telling them, madam, you please look at that. So
Yeah.
when I come home, I kind of pour my heart into a diary that I maintain, a journal. And that journal came very handy when I wanted to think of what I want to write in this book. So those 14 reminders were just pure and simple. It's like something you keep in your bag when you are traveling, just, and when your mood is off, just take it out, read one reminder, keep it back. So
Yeah.
that's the idea I had in my mind. So something that they can always carry. So it did took me 2.5 months, but half of the work was already done. I'm very good with the editing part. I don't make spelling mistakes. I don't make grammatic errors because that's one thing which I have been very good at since school days. So that way, if you look at it, and I was very lucky when I started my research for a publisher. A lot of friends came in handy and they said, okay, go to this or go to that. So that's how things materialized. And in flat 5.5 months, my book was in my hand. So that's
Amazing. Yeah.
I know it's a very fast method. That doesn't work like that. But I guess some of the research I did not do the research from other people. I actually wanted to make it from my experience. It's
Yeah.
one thing to read a blog, to read an article and write. It's another thing to bring it out from your own experience. So I guess that came handy.
Yeah, yeah, and you have so much of experience here, no? I'm sure you have put in a lot of valuable suggestions in that. So,
Told that by a lot of people who bought the book. I have been told that. But I guess people still want a book to be thick and having big theories. So, but whichever way it is written for one average parent who gets pissed off when in the process of parenting, who gets angry, who is scolding, and at times, they say nasty things and there are a lot of power struggles. So it's for that kind of parent. That dear parent, please don't lose hope. There's still hope.
So where can parents buy this book? Is it available on Amazon, Flipkart?
Yes, currently it's available on Amazon. The Kindle version is also available. So anytime they wish to buy this, they can always get into Amazon Prime.
Yeah, right now, especially in lockdown, although we are out of lockdown, but still, I know book are not being delivered. So Kindle version
So
is
Kindle
great to have.
version, yes, that could be that can be availed because the physical book I don't know what are they doing with it because last that I saw they were not able to deliver that, and
Yeah,
Kindle version is available.
yeah, which even I've heard that is it is going to take another week, 10 days to be back on, with hard copy.
Mm.
Through my publisher, I got to know that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So it has been great talking to you, Pragati. I don't feel like ending, or maybe we might have to do a second episode because there is so much to talk.
I am
We have
coming
so
up
much
with
of.
my second book, Vandana. So we will meet again. We will talk
I
about
would love
it.
to bring you back, talk about it, and introduce it to the audience. I'm sure it is going to give them a lot more value. Just talk to me about the concept that you are writing your book on, and just let the audience
So
know,
just
have that feeler.
okay. Well, I don't mind even if people want to borrow the concept, they will write what they will write. So, what I want to bring on the table now is a book for women again, and this is going to be all aspects about what women is doing these days, whether they are networking, whether they are meeting friends for a coffee, or self-love, and all those things that they are doing. Some of them they do it and they're still not happy. Some of
Yeah.
them they do it and they are on cloud nine. So what's the difference between these two women? How is one thinking, how is the other thinking, and how that can be bridged is what is my agenda. So I'm trying to bring it up in a way of stories, where again, every story will have a protagonist, it will have another companion to it, and then they talk about certain things. How the conversations lead to something fruitful or an aha moment is what the next one is all about. And of course, I'm going to add some of these strategies and tools which could be used to understand the structure of that story. So it's like the kind of book I would like to read. Something from the real life, something from the science, and blending it together is what I'm thinking.
Right, right. Sounds really interesting, and I think a lot of women need to know the two sides. Uh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Right, right. So it has been great talking to you, Pragati, and I wish you just quickly finish your second book and we get another opportunity to talk. Yeah.
Sure, I will be more than happy. Though because of you, I have put my deadline a little 2 months before. Then you. So let's see. I hope I can finish that off. I'm still, though my stories are all typed now, but I need to still work on them. Writing a book is not easy.
Yeah.
So this is what is taking little time. But yes, I'm at it.
Yeah, and if you need any help in writing and knowing how to market it, any help related
So
to the
I'm
process of the
following
book
you on
writing, so
Facebook.
you know.
I am following you on Facebook, so I know whom to go to when I need some inputs. So that's definitely one of the high points that you're the one behind a lot of inspiration that you give to a lot of women out there, including me. So I'm part of your group. I love the conversations there. I love how you bring about new and very instinctive thinking tools out there. So hats off to you, to your commitment, and to make it little beautiful for all of us out here.
Yeah, I'm glad that you are, finding it worthwhile. That's what the aim is because, I have this belief that each one of us has a story and it's beautiful enough and it's a lot more inspiring.
Correct.
I was talking to somebody and telling that, I talk to people like you and, other authors who might not be like the celebrities, but we are celebrities in our own ways. And she beautifully said that, Vandana, They don't need to be heard. We have heard them. We need to
Absolutely.
hear the people who are just next to us, who are neighbors, who make us feel that we are same, you know. It's
Correct.
difficult to reach a celebrity, but it
You
feels
know,
nice.
I tell you what, I think we should have a right purpose in our mind when we're writing a book. Writing a book is not always about being a celebrity. I have never thought of being a celebrity. Now, let me share a little secret that I have. I always wanted to do charity a little more than what I'm doing currently. So the
Yeah,
day I wrote my first book came into my hand, I announced in my whole family and to everybody that every single proceed from every single word that I write will go to charity. So till date, whatever this book has sold has only goes to my little mandir in the house, and then it goes off to charity. I have not used even a single penny out of that. And I feel a celebrity there. I
yeah,
said, what I am doing, you got to have a very different mindset to think that. And I'm happy with that. I'm blessed and extremely grateful to Almighty that He's given me that power of words. He's given me that thought and that courage to write. A lot of
same.
people
Yeah,
have that, power of word and thought. They end up not having courage enough to speak their truth. So I'm blessed to have at least all three of them in the right proportion.
yeah, yeah. And I wish every woman can gather that courage and come out, you know. Each
Correct.
one of us is so, they have so much talent in them, but they hide behind the fear. And I just hope you and I collectively can do something. We can shake each and every woman and, tell them to shine. This is what my purpose is as well. I want to see
We are
every woman shine.
definitely on a more or less a similar mission.
Right.
Definitely be there, and we'll be able to turn around, if not many, at least some hundreds of lives. Let's
Of
at least
course.
think of that.
Amen to that. So great, Pragati. I guess we will keep continuing like this.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vandana. It was a pleasure being part of the conversation.
And I'm so glad that you took the invitation, you came, you took out the time out of your busy schedule that we could talk, we get the opportunity to talk. So thanks for being here, thanks for sharing your stories, your inspirations, and keep inspiring everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you to you to have considered the whole idea of bringing this talk out in the open out there. So, totally, totally thankful to you. God bless you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, and we will stay in touch.
Absolutely. Take
Yeah,
good care. Okay,
yeah.
bye.
Bye. Take care.
You too.